And this second article I'd like to share with you, the title is very interesting. What if Andrew Yang was right? Mitt Romney has joined the chorus of voices calling for all Americans to receive free money directly from the government. This is by Adam Harris from The Atlantic. As the U.S. is scrambling to deal with the forced shuttering of restaurants, bars, theaters, and other businesses, even some fiscally conservative Republicans agree that giving money directly to people might be the best response. Today, Senator Mitt Romney proposed sending every American adult $1,000 check to help with short-term obligations, rent, groceries, whatever it may be. The idea sounded familiar to followers of the 2020 Democratic primary race, specifically those who have watched the businessman Andrew Yang, who ran on an outsider campaign based on what he sees as the need for universal basic income, or UBI. I spoke with Yang 2 hours after Romney's announcement to discuss the renewed push to give people money. This conversation below has been condensed for length and clarity. Your campaign's central plank was freedom dividend. Now, Mitt Romney is saying we need to send Americans $1,000 injection. Why was that freedom dividend so important to you? We have been in the midst of the greatest winners-take-all economy in the history of the world for the past number of years, where the gains of continued progress and innovations have not been felt in the day-to-day life of the vast majority of Americans. And that was only going to accelerate in the days ahead as artificial intelligence leaves the lab and more companies automate more of their activities. You can see it in the shuttering of 30% of stores and malls around the country. People don't think about that as automation because it's not like a robot showed up to the mall. But those stores are closing because of Amazon, and Amazon's fulfillment centers have wall-to-wall robots and machines. So to me, it was vitally necessary and is vitally necessary to rebalance the economy and have it work better for people and families. Instead of talking about automation, I should have been talking about a pandemic. That's so true. So Andrew Yang, he wrote this book, The War on Normal People, right? So it was talking about the threat of automation, AI, and robots. But this pandemic, global pandemic, is also a war on normal people, because the richest people, they are less affected. It's those people who are living paycheck to paycheck, 78% of American people, and those who couldn't pay $400-500 emergency bills, they're suffering the most. So this is also a war on normal people. And think about it, with this outbreak going on, with all this essential business closed down, there's going to be a massive layoff. And those high-tech companies, they have more motivations to, develop automation and artificial intelligence, like Amazon, have this go grocery stores that has nobody working there. Things like that is only going to accelerate, and this war on normal people is accelerating. And Harris asked, those coronal disease closures will put a lot of Americans in financially precarious situations. Does a one-time injection of money help, or is this something that needs to be continuous? Andrea, it would be immensely helpful right now in this time of crisis. I think it should be $100 per month of economic lockdown. And the CDC just announced that they are advising against gathering of 50-plus people for 8 weeks. So we should be looking at a minimum of 2 months at $1,000 per person. But we don't know if the world is going to reopen in 8 weeks. It's unclear what data we would have that would enable the CDC or other policymakers to give us the all clear. So it should be $1,000 a month until this crisis is over. And obviously, anyone who knows anything about me knows I think it should be then just continue in perpetuity. That's so true. Andrea is always thinking of people, the need from the people. We should do this right now to help keep millions of American families above the waterline. 78% of Americans are already living paycheck to paycheck. that's already, like before this pandemic, almost half can afford an unexpected $500 bill. And that was before we shut down hundreds of thousands of businesses, not just bars and restaurants and theaters. If you look at the ripple effect of every canceled sporting events, every canceled conference, hotels are firing people right and left right now. You're looking at essentially a negation of a significant proportion of our economic activity for a month, or maybe even longer, right? There is really no effective way you can try and make workers whole that does not involve putting money into everyone's hands. And this is one thing I find ridiculous and frustrating when politicians talk about making people whole. It's like, how do you make a parking attendant who just lost all of his shifts whole? You know, he's not paying a payroll tax now. Harris, to add to that, the gig economy has always been very insecure. Does providing people with a baseline of money add some security to that system? Andrea, I'm for a universal basic income of $1,000 a month in perpetuity for all American adults. I think it's necessary in the face of how our economy has evolved, where the vast majority of new jobs that are getting created are temp, gig, or contract jobs that get disappeared any moment, any precarious, and do not have any benefits attached to them typically. We should have universal healthcare for similar reasons. The fact is our employment-based healthcare system is purely an accident based on our experience in World War II, where there were pay caps and companies buoyed on health insurance trying to attract workers. And now we're stuck with this completely messed up hodgepodge where your insurance is tied to a full-time job that exists for fewer and fewer Americans. Because again, most of the new jobs that are getting created are gig and contract jobs. So these are massive economic and social changes that we just have adapted to in a meaningful way. And this coronal disease crisis is going to be devastating for millions of Americans, socially, economically, physically. But a lot of these vulnerabilities existed prior to the coronal disease, highlighting them. Harris, even with Mitt Romney's support, do you think it is something that Congress will do, and where do you place the likelihood of this happening? Actually, this is happening today, so I put the link below. President Trump announced that it would happen. Harris, so that groundswell of support is giving you that optimism. Yeah, it's common sense. If you're any American who is exposed to any part of the economy, see, Andrea already predicted this is going to happen because he already see, people from left and right all supported this plan. So he predicted that, Trump would actually adopt this. All right, you see it's being unpinned by the coronal disease. And there are limited ways that your neighbor or your coworker or your former coworkers are going to be able to make ends meet. And that everything policymakers are talking about would be ineffective except for cash. The people know this. Politicians are quickly realizing it. And one reason I'm optimistic that it's going to pass is, what is the political downside to giving everyone cash? I don't see it. It's like you pass it and you look like a hero. You don't pass it, you're a moron. Even members of Congress can see that calculation. Exactly. I'm so surprised that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders didn't see this. I mean, they could have just, came out and say, look, UBI is what people need. I support UBI that Andrew Yang proposed. That would have been a win. But they didn't do that. I'm so disappointed. Oh, that's one reason why I wrote this damn all craps horse race song. Anyways, you can look it up if you like to. So it's a great missed opportunity. And now Trump does this. So his chances of winning the re-election is even bigger than before, I think. If there's no this coronal disease outbreak, I think Trump will be re-elected, because Andrew Yang is out of race, and I don't see Bernie or Biden could beat Donald Trump when the economy is doing well. But with this outbreak, maybe they stand a chance against Trump. But now that Trump does the UBI, it's a different story. Anyways, Harris, and if you had one selling point to legislators who are still on the fence about this, what would it be? Yeah, you are going to be able to say to your constituents in your district, I got money in your hands during this moment of need. When push came to shove, I came through for you. That's so well said. So Andrew has always been running for the people. He's not like running for his ego to become the president of the United States. Even when he quit it, he did the math. He said, math told me that I'm not going to win, so I don't want to waste people's money when I don't see the path to winning myself. So that's why he suspended his campaign. But I still think he has the most innovative ideas across the field, and he should have been. If we just compare policies to policies, he should have been the nominee, and he would easily beat Trump. I read one comment saying, if we nominated Andrew Yang, then I would be sleeping like a baby until November, because he can surely beat Trump. And the election bidding online data also showed that if Andrew Yang became the nominee, he will beat Trump. He's the only one who can beat Trump, according to data. But now he's out of the race, and I really don't know. Maybe we are entitled. People deserve another 4 years of Trump. I told my friend, if the people are too dumb, they perhaps deserve a dumb president. Anyways, what do you think? And do you think Andrew Yang will run for 2024 and become a president at that time, or do you think any other things could happen? Maybe this Crohn's disease just it's an interesting factor. Maybe, I don't know, Biden was nominated, but he God forbid something happened to him, right? There are just so many uncertainties at this point. But in any case, I hope Andrew Yang can play an important role in the new administration in whatever roles. Like even Trump wanted to use Andrew Yang. I wouldn't object to that idea. So tell me what you think, and please like and subscribe and comment below. Thank you.